When was the first time you've had or experienced mental health challenges?
That I can remember? Maybe 8 or 9.
And what exactly were you feeling, if you remember?
Uncontrollable anger, rage, the boiling before the eruption and the eruption over and over and over again. Yeah.
And the eruption looked like what?
It looked like me fighting in school. It looked like me getting suspended. It looked like me almost being arrested. It looked like me hurting people. It looked like me closing off from the world and from the people closest to me. It looked painful, not as painful as it felt.
So that was 8 or 9. What did people around you do or say, if anything?
I don't think many people knew what to say. People knew I was angry. People knew that I had a short fuse, if there was a fuse there at all, and that I had a temper to be reckoned with. I know that my grandmother was afraid for me. I know my mother was as well. And I know my grandmother tried her best to save me from the anger, from whatever the pain was. She tried her best to save me from myself. I know my mother wanted to do the same, and I don't think that she knew all of the ways how.
So what was adolescence like?
Sometimes it was like searching for an escape. And I found temporary escapes. Sometimes it was like my own personal hell.
What were temporary escapes?
Baseball. Playing baseball. Making art. Losing myself in creative processes. Distancing myself from the rest of the world, from the things and people that I didn't want to involve myself with, and also the things and people that I did.
When did you ever feel comfortable, or did you ever feel that you had the words to explain what you refer to as your own version of hell?
I don't think comfort was a luxury I was afforded. And I know I didn't have the words. I know I didn't have the words because I'm just now beginning to find them.
Hold up, I forgot my manners. They call me the one, it's nice to meet you, man. Think a little birdie told me y'all been lost. Yeah, lacking management, in need of a boss. It ain't me, that's what I can't be. I open up and let that stain see, till he paint me. This kind of rap, it really pains me. They try to shame me, when I say I mean my family, that's in the game. See, take the Christian out the name, and because they aiming. You think it's black and all your fame, and they think you lame. I wonder if he took those thorns all up in his brain, and just so I can fit the picture and play the game. Yeah, that's why they frame.
It was It was called like Come Alive or Love Fest in Miami. It was a gospel concert last year.
EDC Las Vegas.
Laney, it was for my girlfriend's birthday. They did like 12 songs. My feet was burning. I was ready to go, but it was good.
Jazz in the Garden.
The Roots and Jill Scott back in Philly.
James Brown and Wilson Pickett.
I hope to make my first concert probably Afropunk.
I got I'm like, right, 1, 3, 5, and 7. Favorite movie? You gotta do better.
The most difficult thing is, I guess, there's so many variations of blackness, right? So trying to figure out where you fit in, or more yet, people accepting your definition of blackness and not somebody else's, really. That's for me, is being a man and being black, just defining it myself and not trying to form it into a category or a stereotype or a box.
I'd have to agree with that because for me personally, I'd say it's acceptance. Because no matter what, even to some other black men, your definition of black and their definition of black can be completely different. Yeah. Like the way I talk, the music that I listen to, and like what I do, will be like, oh, you're not black enough to like, do this and that. So it's like, I can see what you mean when it comes to, acceptance.
I used to get offended with the title, black, because I thought people like over-defined it. When I'm around certain people, I feel it. Like you feel black, like you don't, nobody has to tell you you're black. You don't even have to identify with it. It's just like you feel it because it's coming off of everyone around you. Like when you get on that elevator and you're the only dark person on the elevator, and then all of a sudden like this goes like this, and that goes like that, and then you just feel it, like you feel the title rather than somebody calling you.
I think for me, it's probably having to pick and choose which parts of myself I bring with me into the day. Having to choose whether or not I'm going to be as radical as maybe I want to be, or if I'm going to be as outspoken as maybe I can be, or if I'm going to be as forthcoming or forthright.
Did you put the filter on?
Did I put the filter on? Did I put enough filters on?
Exactly.
Did I put the right filters on? And am I going to get through the day with the filters that I chose to put on?
I know that feeling.
That's a crushing reality, yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up, my family were, my mother and my stepfather were activists. So I used to go to a lot of protests. I've experienced a lot of racism in Brooklyn. I was bused to an all-white neighborhood in Sheepshead Bay, where I experienced a lot of racism, and I became a racist. I became a reverse racist. And I guess for me as a black man is feeling, wanting acceptance from not just all races. And it took a long time for me to let that go. And that was through God. Because I stopped looking at, I started seeing everybody as a human race before just a race or a denomination or where you came from or what color you was. So today, I'm a human. Even though I experience still, modern day racism, I let it go because I don't take it personal like I used to, because that's the other person's baggage.
I think for me, it came last year, going through a divorce. I entered a dark period of depression, And doing that, it was like, I didn't know how to present my strong black man face, we conditioned, like we saying before, you don't cry, you don't whatever. So it's like, I've got all these emotions going on. I'm wondering what's wrong with my strong black man defenses? They down, they not, let me get them back to working, and it's like, I have on my face for the world, and I was just like, something is wrong.
Yeah.
I should be crying right now. I should be upset. I should be yelling. I should be screaming. And on the inside, I was, but it wasn't verbalized. So I found somebody I could talk to, a therapist, and who walked me through the steps of, before you're black, before you're anything, you're human. Humans cry. Humans have emotions. Like you said, like animals got feelings. We got feelings, and I had to be brought to the center of myself and say, well, yeah, I got feelings, I got pain, I got hurt. And during that process, it started to, as you say, peel back the onion of, well, this is why you hurt. Well, this is what bothers you. You remember that thing in your childhood you thought was okay where you should have been crying? If you couldn't cry about something as minute as that, how can you cry about something greater? Cry about it all. So going through that actually helped increase my emotional intelligence, so to speak. I'm like, okay, that's why I tell you, like, I can hug now. I can tell you, brother, I love you. Don't know you, but I love you because you're another black man.
Yes, sir.
So, that it was therapeutic in that sense. So that's what it did for me.
It's August of this year, because I'm usually not the type to show my emotions, because I don't know if there's an easy way to explain it, but I'm not sure if anybody's dealt with like saying, when you want to open up to somebody about how you're feeling, but like just you telling them makes them worry, and once they worry, you start to worry yourself.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I wake up, try to talk to like my mom about it. I couldn't talk to her about it without getting angry. Tried to talk to my sister about it, couldn't talk to her about it without getting angry. Came to a point where she wanted her space, and it's like I just wanted to like somebody to just hear me out. I got closer, like I wasn't gonna do anything, because I'm not the type of person that's gonna hurt anybody. But it's like, she has her own thing, I can understand. I understand that now. But it came to a point where I just like, nobody would listen, so I punched a hole in the wall. So once that happened, she left, got in her car, the next day she flew back. So it was just that day itself, which made me like, told myself like, I need to find a way to like express this.
Anger will take you places that you've never been and would never want to go back to.
Exactly. Like honestly, for real, really, today, this day, it bothers me that actually happened. Yeah.
Yep. I deal with the same. I had just moved down here. Transitions are difficult things.
Yes.
They're especially difficult for me. I don't enjoy change, especially when it's forced upon me. My grandmother knew better. She knew better than to be afraid of me, but she also knew better than to let me sit in that space.
Right.
And she made me go see a therapist. Unfortunately, it did not work out the first time around. And it's important that I say that, because I've come across now, being in the profession, so many brothers, so many young black people, male and female, so many people, period, that have had terrible first experiences, second experiences, and then they just say, oh, that's not for me, and they cast it away.
Something I realized too is talking to various therapists and counselors is that relational side, like you said, and sticking to the book. Sometimes it's like the book doesn't get through to a person. So now then you have to reach into your inner nature and relate to this person on a personal level. But then I know there's a set of ethics that therapist and counselor has to abide by. So, just talking to people, that seems to be a grave thing. But I wish more African Americans would get into therapy. I may not need to get my money right. My money may be right, but now I need somebody to help me with this pain I'm dealing with.
In church, you got the pastor, everybody that goes through something, they talk to the pastor.
Because it's not a field that our culture is almost so familiar with. Mm-hmm. To be honest, if we look at it, like you said, pastors, I feel is our culture is so used to pastors, nurses, it's not a field where we think we can almost relate to, or we feel like we take care of each other, because we have that stigma, that even as black women and black males, we still try to stand so firm and being emotional. So if we're still trying to face, breaking down that emotion amongst ourselves, how can we teach others, like you said, to seek a therapist to help you deal with, that inner emotion and stuff like that.
This is interesting. 2 years ago, I wanted to go into the military, and I remember I had a mentor, and he asked me why. And when I was 18, my girlfriend got pregnant, and I'm 26 now. So when I was 24, I found out that it wasn't my kid after going through high school, seeing my girlfriend pregnant, telling all my friends, telling my whole family. When I was 24, I found out it wasn't mine. After not going to college, working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, missing Christmas, doing all these things, I found out it wasn't mine. I wanted to go into the military because that's the easiest way where you could hurt somebody and not get in trouble. Yeah, that was a rough part. But when you're young, you used to go to church because your grandparents or somebody older is bringing you. When my age, you don't really go to your pastor and tell him your business, man. You go to your friends, and your friends don't know nothing. They do know something, but they're not qualified to talk to you on that subject. So all they're thinking about is the final aspect behind it, you know? Like, damn, you spent all that money, man. You should sue her and stuff like that. Not thinking about, dude, man, you had to take care of a baby, man, you know? Yeah, man, that's rough, man.
We're overdue. We're overdue with challenging the status quo. We're overdue for having the hard conversations, the uncomfortable conversations, the conversations that everyone avoids, that no one wants to have, even as behavioral health professionals, because we are not exempt from that either. I hope for, I wish, I dream of the behavioral health system being filled with people who are actually being who they needed when they were younger. I dream of the behavioral health system being a sanctuary for people who need sanctuary.
What is recovery?
Recovery is work. Recovery is trial and error. Recovery is the refusal to give up. Recovery is trying and trying and trying again. Recovery is being tired. Recovery is wanting to give up. It's choosing not to give up. Recovery is going to the places, the spaces, the heights that you may not have ever been to. Recovery is a beautiful thing.
I meditate today. I take time out to be still, and that's helped me a lot.
I journal. That's my organization, Journaling Saves Lives. And I caught things from the proactive side before things really had a grab on me.
I agree. I exercise. I try to exercise daily. I go to the gym daily. But I also believe in the 10th step. Like, I continue to take that personal inventory, and when I'm wrong, the key is that I promptly admit it, right? And so after a while, from being able to catch yourself and admit that you're wrong, before you know it, you're stopping yourself from being wrong.
I produce art, specifically poetry. I forced myself. Drop it. No, not dropping. But I forced myself to have to channel my emotions in a way that is productive, in a way that makes sense for getting to reconciliation or solution.
For me personally, my self-help, if you may, would have to be new experiences. Because it's like, for me, and I'm sure for other people too, getting in your mind, like going to the same environment every day, just do the same thing, talk, you know, this and that. Going out, doing something you've never done before can really like expand your mind. Not only that, you get to meet new people along the way. That can actually probably like, you know, teach you stuff you never knew you know was possible.
For me, it's volunteering. I was a soccer coach, younger kids though. So you know when you're with younger kids, it's like you want to tell them the things that you wish you knew, you know? You want to talk to them like you're a big brother, like you're helping them, you know? And co-ed too, boys and girls, any race, you know? I think volunteering, helping young kids, I think that helps me. That helps me.
anything you want on this, yeah. Got the script and lost to getting, yeah. I am not the one I think you. Yeah, hey, hold up, yeah. Anything you want on this dish. Got the script and lost to getting rich. Yeah, why you even talking about your wrist? Yeah, I am not the one I think you miss. Hey, what I need go for? I've been taking shots and bleeding purple for the dawn. I've been in the kitchen with the sauce spilling over. I'm that golden child, I got it in my soul. Hold up, I forgot my manners. They call me the one, it's nice to meet you, man. Think a little birdie told me y'all been lost. Yeah, lacking management, in need of a boss. It ain't me, that's what I can't be. I open up and let that stain see till he paint me. This kind of rap, it really pains me. They try to shame me when I say I mean my family that's in the game. See, take the Christian, not the name, and because they aim it. You think it's black and all your fame, and they think you lame. I wonder if he took those thorns all up in his brain, and just so I can fit the picture and play the game. Yeah, that's why they frame them. Oh, I get it, that's a dead horse. Let me leave it alone, let me see my course. Let me turn away, enter from my course. It ain't none of my business and none of yours. Yo, I been the one, but I'm not the one to sit back. Hand me lines, you best believe a bit that. Look the same, I'm broken off like Kit Kat. You too close and I ain't really with that. Please step back or maybe get it tic-tac. Pick a side and stop it with the flip-top. 10 and drive, no, I don't need a pit stop. Keep on asking, you gon' make me pissed off. All these rappers done went off and clicked up. Now they talking all about the missed stuff. Drop the ball and I'm the one that picked up. Not for y'all, I did it for the sick ones. Stop me now, I think I'm hurt feeling. Dead to me, so how you make it killing. See behind the scenes of what you're reeling. It ain't nothing like what you can reel in. Go ahead, check your God if you can feel it. Promise you gon' perish in the real end. I'ma stand steady with the praising. This ain't feasting, this is barely grazing, huh? I think I'm finally ready to talk. But nothing I can say gon' make you change how you walk. You gon' have to see the wounds, scars, lining in chalk. That made a man leave his gold to wanna follow the rock. I'm saying, anything you want on this, alright. Yeah. Anything you want on this, yeah. Anything you want in this, yeah. Anything you want in this, okay, yeah. I got the gold, yeah. Got it in my soul, yeah. I got the gold, yeah. Got it in my soul, yeah. Hey, hold up, yeah. Anything you want on this dish. Cut the script and lost to getting rich. Yeah. Why you even talking about your wrist? Yeah. I am not the one I think you miss. Yeah. What I need go for? I've been taking shots and bleeding purple from the dawn. I've been in the kitchen with the sauce spilling over. I'm that golden child, I got it in my soul. Hey, hold up.